The test was conducted individually. Each one of us was hand-selected by a high-ranking officer. I was given a time and date to show up at this small bunker-type facility in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in New Mexico. Looking back, I think it was around Alamogordo. Anyways, once there, I sat in this tiny room till my identification number was called. Then I was led into another small dark room. The only light came from a dim red bulb illuminated above a steel table. Next, a voice came over a speaker telling me to sit down at the table, open the drawer, and remove the folder. As soon as I opened the folder, the voice said, "You have 1 hour to complete the test, which begins now." At first, I read through all 19 questions and began to answer each one. Some were more difficult as they required insightful written responses. I had no way to track time, but it was probably around the 10-minute mark when the steel door creaked open and a tall, armed guard dressed in black walked in. What startled me the most was that he was wearing a gas mask. The door slammed shut and he quietly stood there. Clearly meant as a distraction, I quickly refocused on the test and continued. There were many illustrated questions asking for personal feelings. It was a really strange test. Then, at about the half-hour mark, the guard began screaming, a muffled guttural sound through the gas mask. Then, pointing his rifle at the ceiling, he blasted 6 rounds into it. The shots rang loud in the enclosed room and scared the crap out of me. Another, more intense distraction. It was difficult to refocus with my ears ringing and pieces of plaster falling from the ceiling onto the table. At last, I finished the test. I figured I had about 10 extra minutes to proofread and double-check my work. Suddenly, a small metal panel opened on the wall, and some type of canister rolled out onto the floor. Another distraction. Then I saw smoke coming from the canister. The room began to fill with tear gas. I started to get up from my chair, but the guard yelled at me to stay seated. Unsure of what to do, I took a deep breath and closed my eyes tightly. As I sat there, the gas was burning around me. After 2 minutes, I'm just about out of air, and I figure I still had 5 minutes left. On the verge of passing out, I exhale, and my chest is filled with gas. Gasping, I fall to the floor and lose consciousness. Later, when I woke up, I found myself back in the original first room. My eyes were still burning, and my chest was searing. A few minutes passed and a voice came over the speaker. "Your test has been assessed, and unfortunately you failed on 2 problems, number 6 and 20. But I stayed out loud. There was no 20th problem. The disembodied voice replied, "Problem 20 was the gas canister. It was an assessment of how you calculate and perform improvised solutions under extreme duress. The successful solution was to attack the armed guard, disarm him, and remove his gas mask for yourself." So after all that, I left and never heard another word about it.